All right, everybody, buckle up because we are diving into another juicy Am I the A-hole story today. And this one comes with a very interesting twist.
It really does.
We're talking relationships. We're talking artificial intelligence. We're talking about what happens when those two worlds collide.
Exactly. And this one is a doozy.
So we're going to unpack this Reddit post. But first, a little background, right?
Please.
So this guy, he's dating this girl. They've only been together about 8 months.
Okay.
Which already, relatively new relationship.
Still early days.
Early days. And they're already having, as he puts it, like big arguments.
Wow.
So that's red flag number one.
Right.
Right. But here's where things take a turn for the, let's just say the interesting. In the middle of an argument, his girlfriend will pull out Chat GPT.
Oh, wow.
And not just to process her own feelings afterward, which, hey, we've all been there. You're trying to figure out.
You need to vent. You need to talk to somebody.
Exactly. You need to get some perspective.
Yeah.
She's using it in the heat of the moment.
Oh, in the moment.
In the moment.
Yeah.
Like mid-fight. She's typing away on her phone, and then she hits him with Chat GPT says you're being unreasonable.
Oh, my goodness.
Can you imagine?
I was shut down so fast.
Right. Where do you even go from there?
It's like, wait a minute. I thought we were arguing. Now we're having a philosophy debate.
Exactly. And not even with a real person, with a bot.
Right. It's a bot. And how do you argue with a bot? They have perfect memory. They can pull up any statistic.
And they're brutally honest, or at least they can appear that way.
Yeah.
Right. So he's basically arguing with an algorithm of her feelings.
Yeah, it's like a supercharged version of her side of the story without any of the, human empathy or understanding.
And he's probably thinking, am I dating her or am I dating this AI now?
Right. Who am I actually supposed to be communicating with here?
Exactly. And it's is this even a fair fight?
Right. It's like bringing a calculator to a poetry slam.
Exactly. Because Chat GPT, for all its bells and whistles, it's still just a very advanced language model, right?
Exactly, yeah.
It can process information and spit out grammatically correct sentences.
Mm-hmm.
But can it really understand the nuances of human emotions, the complexities of a relationship?
And the history, right. ChatGPT doesn't know the inside jokes.
Exactly.
Doesn't know the shared experiences.
It wasn't there for all the fights and the makeup sessions that led up to this point.
Right. And it doesn't have any skin in the game.
Exactly.
It doesn't actually care if these two crazy kids work things out.
So it can't really offer any truly insightful relationship advice, right? Well, it can offer advice.
Yeah.
But whether it's actually helpful or appropriate for that specific situation,
that's a big question mark.
Huge question mark.
And that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating, right? Because on the one hand, you can kind of see where the girlfriend's coming from. Maybe she's struggling to communicate her feelings.
Right. Maybe she's just not great with words. Exactly. And maybe she sees ChatGPT as a way to level the playing field.
Yeah. Refine the words. Yeah.
Right. Here's what I'm trying to say, but I'm going to let this very articulate AI say it for me.
Exactly. And, it can be really validating to have a seemingly objective third party agree with you.
Oh, absolutely.
Even if that third party is just an algorithm.
Oh, 100%. But then on the other hand, you've got the boyfriend who's like, hey, I'm trying to have a real conversation with you, not with your AI assistant.
Right.
And you got to admit, he has a point.
He does have a point.
Because relationships are messy.
They are.
And they're supposed to be.
It's part of the deal, right? The arguments, the misunderstandings, the makeup cuddles, that's what makes it real.
Exactly. You can't just outsource that to an algorithm.
And you shouldn't want to.
Exactly. So what did the wise sages of Reddit have to say about all this? Did they sympathize with the boyfriend or were they all team ChatGPT on this one?
Well, let's just say the comments section was a mixed bag. Yeah, as always.
Never a dull moment in that corner of the internet.
Never a dull moment. We had the classic dump her contingent.
Yeah, of course. Had to be there.
Always gotta have that. Then you had the tech-savvy folks suggesting he fight fire with fire.
Oh, you mean train his own AI to argue back?
Exactly. Create a whole AI battle royale.
No, that's an idea for a reality show.
I would watch that.
Right. Get all the X's in there with their AI avatars.
Oh, that's gold.
But amidst all the, the jokes and the memes and the dumper comments, were there any actual words of wisdom?
Surprisingly, yes. There were a few commenters who offered a more nuanced perspective.
Oh. Tell me more.
So they suggested that maybe, just maybe, the girlfriend wasn't trying to be malicious.
Okay.
Maybe she was actually using Chat GPT as a way to kind of understand her own feelings better, you know?
Interesting. So like a form of self-reflection.
Exactly. And then use that to communicate more effectively with her boyfriend.
So less about winning the argument and more about bridging the communication gap.
Precisely.
Okay, so maybe she's not just trying to weaponize ChatGPT after all.
Well, we'd like to think the best of people, right?
Right.
But it does raise an interesting question about, like, the role of AI in our relationships.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Is it a tool for good, or is it just another way to create distance between people?
Yeah, because, like, on the one hand, you could argue it's helping her communicate, right? Like, she's finding the word, she's expressing herself.
Sure.
But on the other hand, is she really? Or is she just letting this AI do the talking for her?
That's the danger, isn't it? It's like we have all these amazing tools at our fingertips,
Right.
but are we actually using them to connect with each other, or are they just becoming a crutch, a way to avoid those difficult but necessary conversations that actually bring us closer together?
It's like anything else, right?
Yeah.
Too much of a good thing.
Exactly. Moderation is key.
Moderation is key in AI and relationships. Who knew?
Right. There you go. That's the title of our next self-help book.
I love it. But, okay, so let's bring it back to this couple for a second.
Sure.
What's your expert opinion? Is there hope for them? Or is this relationship, like, terminally online?
That's a tough one.
Right.
I mean, on the surface, it seems like a classic case of communication breakdown.
Right.
And, that's never a good sign.
Never a good sign.
But who knows? Maybe this whole Chat GPT thing was just a weird blip,
A cry for help, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. Like a way of saying, hey, we need to work on our communication skills.
Right. And I'm going to use this very sophisticated AI to prove my point.
Exactly. So it all comes down to whether they're willing to put in the work,
The real work.
The real messy human work of communicating with each other.
Without hitting up ChatGPT every 5 seconds.
Exactly. Put the phones down, people. Talk to each other. Listen to each other. Try to understand each other's perspectives.
Oh, what a concept.
I know, right? It's radical.
Revolutionary. This whole conversation has really got me thinking, though, like, what if there's a way to use AI as a tool for, like, positive relationship growth?
Interesting.
Right. So hear me out for a second.
I'm listening.
What if, before you launch into a big, heated argument with your partner,
Okay.
you each took a moment, wrote down your side of the story, and ran it through ChatGPT?
Interesting.
Not to get ammunition for the argument,
Right.
but just to kind of, like, see how it comes across, to get a different perspective on your own thoughts, your own communication style.
That's an interesting idea.
Right. Like, maybe you're being too aggressive, maybe you're not being clear enough, maybe you're using too much jargon, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you come back together, not to argue about who's right or wrong, but just to, like, compare notes.
Okay. I see where you're going with this.
Right. Use it as a tool for, like, self-reflection and mutual understanding.
Yeah.
Rather than a weapon.
It's like relationship therapy with a digital twist.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a bold experiment. But who knows? Maybe it could work.
Maybe. Or maybe it just ends up with everyone arguing with their AI therapists instead.
That's also a possibility.
It's true.
Yeah.
But hey, that's the beauty of technology, right? Always keeping us on our toes.
Always unpredictable.
Always unpredictable. So, what do you think? Is ChatGPT the ultimate relationship wrecker? Or could it actually be a force for good in our love lives?
Tough question.
Right. That's why we're here. But we want to hear from you.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Hit us up in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on this wild story. And be sure to subscribe because we've got a whole lot more juicy deep dives coming your way.
Stay tuned.
See you next time.